Okay, I think we will kick off. Welcome to the meeting. I am expecting the only person we don't have here at the moment is Deborah, but I would imagine she may be coming shortly. So what we'll do first is do the statement of acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge that the land we meet on today is the traditional lands of the Gawler people and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Gawler people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Gawler people today. Right, so the roll call, we have apologies, of course, from Judy, our normal chair. She has a leave of absence to cover just this meeting. And as I say, everyone else is here, with perhaps the exception of Deb. First thing, have we any motions to grant further leave of absence from anyone? Nope. Okay. We don't have, we'll just see what happens in terms of non-attendance with that. Okay, any declarations of interest for today? Nope. Okay. Confirmation of our meeting that was held on the 9th and 19th of January. Would anyone, right, we'll have Mayor McCarron and a seconder, please. Adrian. Everyone to confirm that? Confirmation of those minutes is true and accurate. Thank you very much. That will be passed. Okay, is there any business arising from those minutes? Nope. Okay, we'll keep moving along. Thank you. Okay, well, now we're up to the decision reports. We have 6.1 request for permission to copy an oral history recording by Esther Hart. Jacinta, would you like to speak to this report?
Thank you. Through the chair, the Gawler History Collection has a set of oral history tapes with some summary documents. We had no further information about those tapes. Since sending out or publishing this agenda, we're fortunate in that we've had committee members and community members come forward with some background information on the project that the tape recording was involved in, which is going to help us when we create a significance statement for the tapes. So that's given us a greater understanding of the project at the time. It was in the mid-80s that these tapes were produced, most of them. This particular request is to replicate a part of the recording. We have it, we can easily make it into a digital copy. As the report says, these are available in the State Library. This particular person has come to us. She's travelled up from the city to spend time with us looking at that and anything else in our collection that pertains to the Rodiger family, and there's a little bit. She's very interested in that. So she has asked for a copy of the summary document, which isn't in the public domain. A full transcript of the oral history will be made available through the Mortlock Library in the future, but they're in the process of that. So this request is coming to the committee to ask whether you're comfortable with her having a copy of the summary document and a section of the oral history transcript.
Yes, yeah. I'd like to move the officer's recommendation. Thank you. I don't need to speak to it. Do we have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Kosh. Any discussion? I guess from my point of view, I she has no intention at this point to publish. But from memory, when we give on the permission slip, there is a clause. Jacinta, can you explain about future use?
So through the chair, on the permission slip, it's detailed exactly what the permission is granted for. And there is a clause there that says if there's any further request, it needs to come back before this committee.
Thank you. If there is no further discussion, I ask that people vote on the motion. And it is an anonymous, unanimous vote in favour. Thank you. Okay, moving along, we have a information report, and the information report is on heritage collection inquiries for the February update. Again, Jacinta, would you like to speak to this report?
Thank you. Through the chair, I would just like to bring to the committee's attention two of the heritage inquiries that came from overseas. One was from Switzerland, which was a family history inquiry. The second one was from the Berlin Museum of Natural History. I think the committee would be interested to know that they are in the process of transcribing Schomburg's letters to the museum. Professor Kremer, who I've been in contact with, said that they're transcribed into current reading, which I'm assuming means from Old German into modern German. So they are doing that, and they had a particular interest in Johannes Odewan, who was a taxidermist who worked at the Institute, but who committed suicide. He took strychnine from the museum collection to commit suicide, and he did that because he was apprehended by the authorities for supposedly having obscene materials in his possession. The huge amount of public said that that wasn't the case.
He's buried in one of the Bushvelder cemeteries. He's out there. And it said he was poisoned, I think, on the actual epitaph. So, yeah, it's quite an interesting cemetery. Road diggers are out there, obviously, as well. Yeah.
Would you like to continue?
So thank you. Yes, so he had a very tragic and interesting story, and so the fact that the Berlin Natural History Museum is looking to include that story and the story of some of our other German migrants from this area, including Schomburg, in a initially in a transcript project, potentially in a exhibition, goes to show that the stories of Gawler have not just South Australian and national significance, but international significance. So it's very pleasing to be able to say, I have to say most of our heritage inquiries were family history, but we do have some very interesting ones as well.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And it's great to know that you're also building relationships, because should it go to an exhibition, we could have a suggestion of where their second exhibition site might be. We'll just worry about how we do that later. So well done. It's very pleasing to see the scope that you're getting. It certainly, I think, adds extra detail, not only to the committee, but to members of the public who are looking at what's happening. So thank you. Councillor Koch.
Just through the chair, to Jacinta, when you say GHC, which is Gawler Heritage Committee, what exactly is that when they're with that inquiry?
So through the chair, those are items that they're inquiries about items specifically to the Gawler Heritage Collection. So the majority of our inquiries are family history. So they're looking to access family history from some of our references. Some of them are then house histories, which we help people with. But then there are people, and they could still be a family history inquiry, but they know that the family has been in Gawler and they were involved in Gawler groups and things like that. So they're actually looking at the Gawler Heritage Collection and what's available in the Gawler Heritage Collection that pertains to their family. And as more and more of that's catalogued, it's becoming available via eHive, not the image, but they'll find out, for instance, that their family's member is in a named photograph that's part of the collection, and they'll be making inquiries about that. They might come in and see that, documents that are associated with their particular family member. And so any of those family history items or any other, sometimes it's just a inquiry about something that they remember from the reading room, or do we have in our collection something? So anything that pertains specifically to the Gawler Heritage Collection is listed as a GHC rather than a general family history where we access the references that are readily available.
And do you get a sense, Jacinta, about how people, you've mentioned eHive, how are other people learning of Gawler and the Heritage Collection? How are they making, especially, I guess, from interstate and overseas, how are they making those connections?
So through the chair, we had what we called the Dr. Chris effect. So we were certainly getting increased inquiries from interstate from that particular occurrence on television. The interstate inquiries are coming simply through searching on Gawler and history, which is pleasing, which means our search engine optimization is working and getting us on front page of people's inquiries and things like that. Word of mouth is a big one. So I think people who have been to Gawler or had any interaction with the Gawler Heritage collection or the centre know that we offer that service. So again, if we think back to previous history festivals, we've always run family history workshops. That's gone out across the state. There are various ways that I think people are coming to us quite broadly from a lot of different angles.
Great, well done, thank you. Right, any other discussion? If not, I need somebody to move. Councillor Kosh, and second, please, Adrian, thank you very much. All in favour? Unanimously carried, thank you. Okay, we're on to 7.2, which is a budget update for the Cultural Heritage Centre. Natasha, welcome. Would you like to speak to this one for a variety? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair, I prepared this report. David was on leave. However, just a few things to note from it that this is the Cultural Heritage Centre's budget and actuals to the 31st of December 2022. I would like to highlight the total number of hours that the volunteers contributed, 860 hours contribution, which is absolutely huge, and the staff are very, very grateful, and it does enable Jacinta and Petra to do some wonderful work in that space with their help and support. So yes, thank you for that. Other than that, the Cultural Heritage Centre is operating well within budget and for this financial year to date.
Thank you. Any discussion? Mayor.
I'd just like to congratulate the centre staff and the volunteers, one of whom's here, of course. I think that cultural tourism is getting bigger and bigger, and the previous report showing where people are coming from is really, really important. And also, when David said last night at a different workshop that we're getting 100,000 people here to the Civic Centre every year is really quite outstanding. And I think the contribution from the Cultural Heritage Centre is quite important. Cultural tourism is something that we haven't really pushed, but I think there's an opportunity through tourism to do that and to, show Gawler our point of difference is our cultural heritage and the significant history, not just built history, but oral history, written history, and the Gawler Heritage Collection, which is, we know, nationally significant. I think we underestimate just how important that is, and I really think that there's an opportunity to capitalise on that and how we do that. I think congratulations for working within budget. I think that's never easy. Clearly the budget must be right. Always want more money, of course. But I think, with the volunteer contribution, I think you're really kicking goals, and we always knew it would be a success. We never doubted that for a minute. So I think that it's really pleasing to see just how much we're getting out of this Cultural Heritage Centre, and it is something to be proud of.
Any other discussion? Councillor Kosh.
Maybe I missed it, but where's the line for restorations of items? Is that somewhere?
So through the chair, year to date, we haven't actually sent anything out for restoration. So the only piece that we've actually presented for consideration of restoration this financial year from memory was the leather frame at the last meeting, which we obviously are waiting for recommendations to go through to council, but instead to seek the Copland Foundation funding for in the future. We haven't presented any other restoration projects this financial year yet. The process around that from Jacinta's perspective is budget management, getting to the point of most of the way through the year, having a really good understanding of where we're going to be at the end of the financial year to see what capacity in our contractors line there is for restoration, and then we'll present those to the committee for consideration.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so anything you would like to add, Jacinta, that we've missed? No? Okay, thank you. In that case, I need somebody to move, please. The report, councillor Kosh, seconded by councillor Brown. Sorry, Adrian Brown. I've promoted you on the spot. Well done. Okay, in that case, everyone who's in favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, we have an updated motion list to review. Are there any questions or discussion from that? I had a query actually that came from Deb. She was just inquiring on if we have any more details of the workshop that's proposed. I had a sense, although we didn't put a timeline to it, that might be March. Was that correct? Yes. Okay, so that's looking, details of that will be coming up shortly. Any other queries? If not, okay, we will accept that we're happy with the updated motion list. An update on the exhibition, please, Jacinta. Thank you.
Thank you. Through the chair, the exhibition is going along very well. We will be at the point where we were sending out text panels, hopefully to be reviewed in the next 3 weeks. So as with previous exhibitions, a number of committee members have put up their hands to do proofreading and check those for us. So we're looking forward to that. After that, everything is pretty much the same as it was when we last spoke to the committee about the exhibition. We're again incredibly thankful to community members who are supporting this exhibition with their research skills, their private collections, their time and effort. Each exhibition that the Cultural Heritage Centre puts on appears, to my mind, to be having a bigger pull on community members who are getting involved, which is a very rewarding thing for us. It's very helpful in a small team to be able to call on that expertise in the community, but it brings things from personal collections that people won't ever see anywhere else. And we're very fortunate with the team who are working with us in this space. So the exhibition is going very well. We're very pleased. It's a big exhibition in that it's got some large items like telephone boxes and pillars, post boxes. But it is, we're very comfortable with where we're at the moment. I look forward to being able to send some text panels around. So I fed back the discussion about the typography. And so that decision's been made and it's going well.
So again, for my benefit, the timeline, where we're now, we're almost mid-February. Where are we up to in terms of perhaps an exhibition opening?
So through the chair, we're planning for the end of March and we're hoping to define that in the next week or two.
Anything else? Any questions or queries? Happy with that? Okay, thank you. Right, we have at the moment the next section, items listed for discussions at future meetings. Is anyone aware that there's something that they would like brought up at future meetings? And I think from my point of view, I've been a bit slow. I think this is where we can provide direction to staff on information we might require. So I'm going to make 2 suggestions. You may or may not be aware that there's been an Aboriginal cultural mapping exercise. And because I sit on the Reconciliation Action Planning, I can see it happening from that side as well. So I wouldn't mind perhaps a short, just a summary briefing on the Cultural Heritage Collections interaction in that, please, for future. Doesn't need to be enormous detail. I'd like to understand where it sits, the reason it was done, how it was done, that type of thing. And the other one is, I know that Jacinta's expertise and has been involved in the upgrade of the signage, the tour signage around town. And I think given what the Mayor said earlier about cultural tourism, I think I'd really like to know how, again, the collection and the staff and volunteers have been involved in that. So perhaps we could add those 2. Does anyone, any other thoughts? Or should we just leave it at that at the moment? Perhaps if we. Yeah, and I think if we highlight that and bring that into discussion a couple each time, it will give the staff some direction of what we'd like to be able to hear from. Thank you. Yes, Mayor.
The Walker Place redevelopment was supposed to have artifacts when they're still not there, and it's now 2 years down the track. What's going on? Thank you.
So through the chair, we provided those, the Cultural Heritage Centre, to the manufacturer of the resin bollards 2 years ago, well before opening. There's been a series apparently of reasons why that hasn't happened. That's with asset delivery, chasing that up. So we haven't had any further feedback. We're ready from our perspective. We're also wrote interpretation to go up on the screens for when they're ready, as we did with the language and the interpretive statements that were chosen. But I'm sorry, I haven't got any further information on that other than as it's sitting with asset delivery.
So can we put that items listed for discussion at future meetings? Because I think it's important and it's 2 years down the track and they should have been in there by now, quite frankly. And we've provided artifacts that are from that area and we still haven't got it back. So I'm really keen to see them put in place because that really, it really finishes that, that was one of the reasons we got the award was because of the multi-layered engagement and the elements, including those artifacts. So it's a little bit annoying that it's not there. Yeah. So I'd really like that. Added. Thank you.
Mayor, can I, with your agreement, extend that a little further? But I'd love to hear the whole interaction of the Walker Place, including the signage. So again, the collection has contributed to an award-winning. So as well as, I absolutely agree with you, the missing bit, but I think again, it's now a place, but there's been quite a bit of contribution into that in terms of cultural heritage. Okay, Adrian.
Can I ask what are the items? The artifacts? Sorry.
So through the chair, so I'm going to have to rack my brain because it was 2 years ago. The National Trust have some lovely labels from Time of Fashions. We reproduced those. We didn't put originals into resin. I collected some wattle, some local wattle to go in there. We had a lady's reticule, a little one that I got from an op shop that was local. So it was tiny little purse, tiny little evening purse. So it was never part of the collection. Obviously, we're not putting these things once they're in resin, are in resin forever. So this is sort of, they're representative of Gawler life in that space and things. So we chose Time of Fashions because of where it was located. We had half a bottle that was dug up on the Walker Place excavation. So that went in there. A horseshoe that was dug up. It had to be chopped in half, but it was in there. That was actually when it was bored out of the ground. It was completely covered with iron and I did a chemistry experiment with the battery of my car and I electrified all the water, made a film and got all the iron to fall off. I needed, yeah, I did. I needed a scientist to tell me how to do that because they don't teach you that when you're doing a Bachelor of History. Yes, so there's a selection of items that were either in the ground at Walker Place, so bottle, nails and horseshoe, are representative of that area of Gawler, Time of Fashions, or the people of Gawler, and that's why we had the little reticule from the lady's handbag, because we wanted an element in there that was representative of the women in the space. Time of Fashions is to some extent because there were so many women working there. So there are a few little items like that, and then there was some washable as well.
Thank you. All interesting details. Okay, questions without notice. Any questions? Okay, motions without notice. Okay, well, in that fact, we have outdone ourselves. I declare the meeting closed, and our next meeting, we have in here, then will be the 13th of April, but as we said a bit earlier, there will be something coming in workshop in March. So thank you very much. And we will have to put Deb down as a non-attendance, unfortunately. Okay, thank you, people.